what we're talking about is the cycle of growth that we're continuously passing through. Once we become sentient, once we become conscious of where we are and where we want to go. So you, right now, if you can imagine yourself on a stepping stone, and the next stepping stone is just within reach. Since we started this program, you have started to take steps out. You are now halfway across the river. And for some people, that's getting slightly scary. So the self-sabotage routine will actually knock you into the water if you're not careful. Now you get distracted, you look at something or a noise or something will actually distract you and attempt to take you back into going back to where you were, because no matter how miserable your life was, it was familiar.
Yeah.
And because it was familiar, that's your comfort zone. With each step that you've taken through the visualizations, through the work that we're doing, you are moving out step by step. Now, what I'm talking about is as a cycle. So before you take the next step, you have to set a goal. My goal is to reach that mini step. I know where I'm going, Pier 46 in the, out there in New York, and every stepping stone is one to there. Right? But first of all, I have to cross the River Shannon before I can get to there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you go into that cycle and you set a goal to get there. Once you set that goal, you then have to shift your mindset to expand your comfort zone so that you make it possible for yourself to go there. And finally, you take the action and you plant your foot on it. And once you've got one foot there, then you pull up the next one, and then you go into the cycle again of setting the mini goal, changing your mindset ever so slightly. It is a constantly evolving mindset that you are taking on. Adapting, adopting, intelligently creating the mindset, rather than just sitting there and living with the mindset that your parents had. Does this make sense?
Oh yeah.
Great. So with the cycle, you just continuously moving through this, and every step that you're taking towards your ultimate goal involves going through this cycle. And sometimes you will have issues of trust because the gap looks a little bit wider than you're comfortable with. But if you love yourself unconditionally, if you empower yourself by taking the resources that will actually support you and using them and drawing on the positivity and the power and the peace that's available to you from inside, because you have massive wells of resources inside that you've never tapped into yet, because you've never been challenged to the level that you will be challenged from here on. Once you begin to open up to loving yourself unconditionally, there is a massive joy available to you, but there is also the challenge to return to the negativity and the fears and the self-criticism and self-analysis that you would have grown up with, where you saw your parents and your friends and magazines and images on the screen and everything else saying you're not perfect or you're not this or that or the other thing. The reality is that you are perfect right now. For where you are on this stepping stone, you are absolutely perfect. You may need some more resources to help you to get to the next one, but let's wait until you have those resources in place before you take that step, so that you will be able to take the step safely and easily, comfortably and happily, efficiently and effectively, landing safely on the other step, on the next step. And then you just process step by step by step. You work your way through from where you are right now, right through to where you want to go. Now, in this process, you are not being selfish by gathering into yourself the resources of time, energy, space, headspace, by disconnecting with love from people who draw you away and distract you from your purpose, who take you down, who are so full of negativity that they drain you out like leeches. And that drain, literally, they would hemorrhage all of the happiness and the joy out of you for a few moments of happiness for themselves. And they're not even aware they're doing it. So part of loving yourself unconditionally is ensuring that you stay in that positive space, that you remain in that positive space, and eliminating from your life those opportunities that would drain you out. If you're standing out there in the middle of the river and you become distracted, you will fall in. You will get wet. It will hurt like hell. And it's a bit like being in a relationship and you place your trust in somebody and they abuse your trust and then you get badly burned. It's exactly the same with yourself. If you trust yourself and then you lose faith in yourself, you will want to run back to where you felt secure. So it's about holding your resources, holding yourself in the highest possible state of energy. Now the activities that I'm showing you, that I have shown you already, where we're talking water, we're rubbing here, we're doing the lips, doing the ears, where we are holding here and 5 fingers on your 5 fingers around your belly button, hand on the forehead, the cross call, 2 different types of cross call that I showed you for sitting and standing, and the hookups, part 1 and part 2, where you've got your hands crossed like that, and finally where you've got your feet flat on the floor and your finger pads like this. They help to keep you in that resourced state where you have the oxygen flowing into your body, you have the water coming into your body, and because you are so relaxed, when you take food, you will extract the maximum amount of nutrients from it. And as a consequence, you will be physically supported. But then it's down to you to make sure that you are mentally and emotionally supported by reading the books that will support you, watching the movies that will empower you, by being with people who are of a similar mind and who want the best for you, rather than hanging out with people who are full of negativity and fear and stress and anxiety. And if you do happen to be in the presence of those people, then to ensure that you don't walk away with their fears, their worries, their stresses and their anxieties, that you feel that you are protected and that you do things to protect yourself. So for some people, those can be very simple. They can just decide not to experience the stress or to empathize with that particular person at that level. You can sympathize without empathizing, right? Empathize with those people who are experiencing the kind of energy that you want to draw into yourself, and sympathize with the others. You're there for them, but you don't have to be feeling their pain and drawing it into your life and making it part of your stuff. Because remember, if you empathize with somebody, it's like a trouble shared is a trouble halved. You've got half their trouble now if you walk into a situation of stress, and if you walk into a situation of joy, you are actually helping to spread that person's joy into you, and then by helping other people, you will be expressing that joy further and further. It's like if I walk into a room and I smile, you have no choice but to smile, because it's infectious, the positivity. If I walk in with a scowl or an angry look on my face, I can change your approach to living. I can change your approach approach to me. I can change the way that you are thinking right now, and I can put you on the defensive, or I can put you on the ability, I can put you into a peaceful, happy, relaxed state where you feel comfortable in yourself, where you feel relaxed, where you feel calm. So is it selfish to do this? And the answer is no. Because your ultimate goal is to love yourself unconditionally. And by learning to love yourself unconditionally, you also learn to love other people unconditionally. You learn to love nature unconditionally. And you begin to learn life and to love life unconditionally. But it all starts with starting to love yourself, respecting yourself, valuing yourself and your time, and not wasting your time on doing things that aren't priorities in your life. So if the garden isn't going to be weeded until next week because you have something to do that is important for yourself, then what's the top priority? Is it getting those weeds picked out so that when Auntie Maureen comes and sees the place that it looks okay, or is it actually doing the thing that will empower you, that will enrich your life, that will benefit you maximum? That's not selfish, that is self-full. And when you are filled up with love for yourself, right up to the very top, and you are overflowing, what people see is the love. What they experience is the love. And what you're giving them is the overflow in your life. You're not draining out your well to support them and to love them unconditionally. You are using the wellspring of unconditional love within you to reach out and to touch other people. But it is that flow that touches them, not when you go in and take out a cup and you give it to somebody, right? If you keep taking out cups out of the well, and the well will run dry very quickly, and you will stop loving yourself. And you have given all your time, your resources, your energy, your everything. You're empty. You are just a pure, empty shell. Thousands of times I have met with people who are loving, caring, generous people, and there's nothing left of them but just the shell, because they're hollow out inside. They're like an empty peanut shell inside, because they've given everything to everybody, and they're unable to get anything back that will resource them, because they've allowed their own well to run dry, because they stopped loving themselves. Something somebody said, something somebody did, stopped them from feeling that they could love themselves, that they were worth loving, and that they should be loved and can be loved by themselves unconditionally. As soon as you take that unconditional and you make that part of your goal, unconditionally loving yourself, that becomes the empowerment for you to achieve anything that you want to achieve in life. Because you're no longer doing it for somebody else. You will have that massive surge of reward inside. You will have that sense of fulfillment. What would it be like? Just take a few moments now, close your eyes and relax. And just think about, if you loved yourself unconditionally in the same way as you love other people unconditionally, what would you do for yourself right now? What would you do for yourself today if you loved yourself unconditionally? And I'm not talking about heading out for a massage, right? I'm talking about loving yourself unconditionally. What would you actually do right today that would actually indicate to you that you are loved unconditionally, that you are accepted unconditionally as absolutely perfect right now for the stepping stone that you are on in the middle of the river? So focus on that for a few minutes and just let that be the thought, the question that works through your mind. for the next one.